Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Tassos Kilimos. Happy to be joining you guys for another edition of NBA Player Prop Parlay right here on the Guy Boston Sports YouTube channel. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope your weekend went well. Hope you are ready to conquer and strive through the new week. We have a new day, a new week, which means a new slate of NBA Player Prop Parlays to share with you guys. But first, I had to give you guys all your claps, round of applause. This morning, we hit 50,000 subscribers, an unbelievable accomplishment, and we only did it because of you. Thank you to the Guy Boston Sports community, everybody who subscribes, who watches. This is just the beginning. I know it's cliche to say that, but it's the truth. From the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of Ev's heart, we thank you guys for helping us achieve this goal. And we're just getting started. Like I said, I know it's a cliche to say that, but we're going up and up and up. We're not stopping at 50,000. We're trying to get the next goal we're at is 100,000. We're trying to get those silver YouTube plaques. So thank you very much. If you're not already, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We have a 5-leg parlay. Now, usually I save these bigger parlays for a Freaky Friday, but because of the 50,000 subscriber hit and everything, I figured, you know what, let's go for it. Let's do a 5-leg parlay for today to celebrate. Let's see if we can start the week off with a massive, massive win. Real quick, I know this intro is going a little bit longer. Again, I apologize for that. We do have to, of course, acknowledge the fact that we did hit 50,000 subscribers. But I'll do a little quick recap of last week. So we did go 0-4 on parlays. Now, before you click off the video because you see that, hold on one second. When you're in the parlay game, you have to understand we're going to have weeks where you're not going to hit that many. Parlays are a risky business, especially when you're dealing with player props. It's tough. If we could hit them constantly, we'd be rich, right? Unfortunately, that's not the case. So we're going to have some weeks where you're off the mark. Last week, 0-4. I gave you 13 props across those 4 videos. 8 out of those 13 props did hit, which is over 60% of those props hit. So overall, like, our prop hit rate was successful. It just, in terms of the parlay, it felt like we were always a leg off, which was unfortunate. On the season, I've given you 132 props. We've hit 105 of those. It's over almost 80%, like 79% hit rate on the season. So overall, we're hitting our props. We just need to make sure that we're hitting them in congruence with the parlay. Again, I always tell you guys, you can always, like, all-you-can-eat buffet, pick and choose what you want from the props. Take them. I won't be mad. But, of course, the goal here is hit the parlay. So, long intro. Apologies for that. Let's get in today's video. 5-leg parlay. A lot to go through. So, let's dive right in. I'm going to try my hardest here, guys, to cruise through these because they are 5 legs. I don't want this video to be 20 minutes long. Starting off the first leg of our 5-leg Monday parlay, we are targeting the Bucks-Pistons game. It kicks off at 7 p.m. Eastern time. We're going with Malik Beasley of the Milwaukee Bucks over 11.5 points plus assists. And we kick this over to the outlier screen. I can show you why I like this prop. So, guys, moving over to the outlier screen. If you know what outlier is, they are the sponsor of every NBA player prop video. Link in the description below, 7-day free trial if you want all this information and try this out for yourself. So here we have over 11.5 points. Now, the data here is fine. It's not overwhelmingly great. You're not going to see a ton of green, but enough that it gives me confidence in betting this. So he's hit this in 6 of his last 10 games. That's a 60% hit rate. And if you look at the 2023 season as a whole, he's hitting it at 55%. That's 22 out of 40 games, which is pretty solid. And if we go over here to the head-to-head, which is obviously one of the most important factors here. Now, they have played the Pistons twice this season. He's hit this both times, just barely, but he still hit it both times they played. He had 10 points and 2 assists on November 8th, and he had 11 points and 1 assist on January 20th, just the other day. So, we have the head-to-head data. Overall, he's hitting this at a 55% hit rate on the season. And if you look at the right side of the screen here, overall, defensively, this is one of the worst teams in the NBA. They are bottom 3 in points allowed to opposing teams, and they're about middle of the road, slightly under middle of the road in assists allowed. If you go towards position, against the shooting guard, they are bottom half of the league in points allowed. They are actually pretty good in assists allowed, but it feels like mostly we're going to need Malik Beasley to cover this in points, so that's okay. Even if you look at small forward and point guard, the other 2 positions that he can kind of, rotate around, it's pretty good defensive matchup. Again, he's hit it each of the 2 times they've played this season. It's a solid matchup for Malik Beasley in a game that could be a blowout. You could see him get some extra minutes. So I like this a lot for our first leg of our 5-leg parlay. Cruising right along here, guys, to the second leg of our 5-leg parlay. We're targeting the Grizzlies-Raptors game, which kicks off at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. We're going with Dennis Schroeder of the Toronto Raptors over 12.5 points plus assists. Now, the data here for Schroeder is pretty good. He's hit this in 8 of his last 10 games. He had hit it in 8 consecutive. In the last 2 games, he's failed to hit it. had a couple of rough nights, but he's getting the minutes, right? That's the one thing that I think a lot of people might be scared of with all the trades and stuff. Maybe Schroeder's minutes are going down. Not really. He did just play only 22.7 minutes against the Knicks, but he played 26 minutes. So, like, you look at around the time they made all these trades, he's still playing enough, right? So I'm not too concerned about the playing time aspect of it. You go to his last 20 games, he's hit this in 16 of his last 20 games. You saw he was on a nice streak from right before Christmas all the way until January 17th. A really nice streak of hits there for Schroeder. And if you look at the season as a whole, he's hitting this at an 86% hit rate, 37 out of 43 games. Only 6 times this year has he failed to hit this over. And you look at, now this was the first time this season that he hit it in back-to-back weeks. I can't see him missing this mark in 3 straight games, so I really like the spot here for Schroeder. Again, all season long, 86% hit rate. A lot of green you're going to see there on that chart. And there is a little bit of head-to-head data to look at here. They have faced off once this season, the Raptors and the Grizzlies, on January 3rd. Schroeder had 16 points and 5 assists, so he crossed this number again. The Raptors had a little bit of a different look at that time, right? Siakam was still there. OG Anunoby was still there. So a little bit of a different look, but overall, again, solid matchup here for Schroeder. And if you look at the right side of the screen, defensively versus the point guard position, the Grizzlies are bottom half of the league in points allowed and bottom 10 in the league in assists allowed. So a solid defensive matchup, a lot of great data. The stat I think that really sticks out is the fact that he's hit this in 86% of his game this season. Only 6 times this year has he failed to cash this over out of 43 games. So really solid spot here for the second leg of our parlay. All right, guys, moving on to the third leg of our 5-leg parlay. This is very interesting. As I went to go cut the scene to go ahead and move over to the next leg of the parlay, my original third leg was in the Timberwolves Hornets game, but interestingly enough, as I went over to the outlier screen to go ahead and take my original prop was Jaden McDaniels. All of the Timberwolves props for the most part have been wiped off. You can't get them on the books anymore. So I don't really know what's going on there. I don't know if the public's overwhelmingly betting Minnesota. I don't really know what's going on there, but a lot of the Timberwolves props that were available literally just an hour ago are now no longer available. Had to go pull an audible on the fly here. So here we go, alternate. We're going with Tobias Harris in the Spurs-Sixers game, which kicks off at 7 p.m. Eastern time. We are going with Tobias Harris under 10.5 rebounds plus assists. I've seen sometimes lines will change, like the same line you won't be available, the same odds, but I've never seen the props completely just be eliminated. So kind of weird, but it's okay because I did like this spot a lot. I was debating between the Jaden McDaniels prop and the Tobias Harris prop, so it ended up working okay. I do like this prop a lot. Now, he has hit this in 6 of his last 10 games. It's a 60% hit rate, so not too bad. But the more important thing I want to look at is on the season as a whole. You look at 2023 in totality. He's hitting this at a 73% hit rate, 29 out of 40 games this season. Tobias Harris has cashed this under. And when you look at the head-to-head matchup, now they have not played this year yet. This is the first time they've played. But in the previous 2 meetings, once in February 2023, the other time in October 2022, both last season, he cashed this under big time. Now, he was in a very different place. That was the Doc Rivers Sixers. His role was quite different. But Tobias Harris did cash this the last 2 times he played San Antonio. And again, go to even his last 20 games. He's hit in 14 of his last 20 games, 70% hit rate. So overall, a solid prop here for Tobias Harris. And when we look at the defensive matchup, it makes sense. Versus the power forward position, the San Antonio Spurs are top 10. They only give about 10 rebounds per game, and they are, about middle of the road in assists allowed. So they're not, overall, it's a pretty solid defensive matchup. So when you combine solid defensive matchup with solid analytical trends and data, overall, I think this is a pretty solid spot here for the third leg of our 5-leg parlay. Cruising right along here, guys, to the fourth leg of our 5-leg parlay. We're going to the Bulls-Suns game, which kicks off at 9 p.m. Eastern time. We're going with Kevin Durant of the Phoenix Suns. This is an alternate line over 34.5 points, rebounds, plus assists. Now, the data for this one is fantastic. He's hit this in 7 of his last 10 games. He had a big game on January 21st, just recently against Indiana. He had 40 points. Look at his last 20 games, 75% hit rate, 15 of his last 20 games. And look at the 2023 season as a whole. He's hitting this at an 83% hit rate, 29 out of 35 games this season. He has cashed this over. And when you look at the head-to-head data, including the one time the Suns and Bulls matched up this season, he cashed this. In his last game, the one that's really important to us here is the one where they met earlier this year in November. He had 25.7 rebounds and 9 assists. And that was when they had Zach LaVine and stuff. They don't even have him now. So even though the Bulls are technically playing better without him, solid trends, data, and of course the fact that he has hit this the last 2 times he played Chicago. And when you look at the defensive matchups, it makes sense. They are kind of middle of the road. They give about 21 points per game, to the small forward position. They give up 15th in the league, 7.6 rebounds per game, and they are bottom 5 in the league in assists allowed, giving up almost 5 assists per game to the small forward position. So, great defensive matchup, a trend that he's been hitting at an 83% hit rate this season, and he's already done it twice against the Bulls their last 2 times when they've met. It's minus 205. It's a higher prop, but for good reason. I think it's a pretty surefire bet here for, and overall, when you look at the Bulls' defense, not very good, right? Now, points allowed, they're not terrible, but rebounds and assists allowed, nothing really special. So overall, a solid spot here for Kevin Durant. All right, guys, 5th and final leg of our parlay today. If you made it this far in the video, make sure to comment 10. We are past the 10-minute mark. Comment 10 if you made it this far. 5th and final leg, we're going with the Hawks-Kings game. It kicks off at 10 p.m. Eastern time. We're going with DeJounte Murray of the Atlanta Hawks over 22.5 points. Now, Murray's a guy who's been involved in a lot of trade rumors lately. He's going to be traded probably any day now. But this game, I like it a lot. Trae Young is out with concussion, which means that DeJounte Murray kind of becomes the primary ball handler, the primary scorer for this offense. You look overall, the trend's not great. He's hit it in 6 of his last 10 games, which isn't too bad. But overall in the season, he's just hitting it at a 40% rate, 17 out of 42 games. Nothing really all that impressive. But I'm not too worried. This is usually, I know this is a show where we focus on the trends and the patterns and the data, but this is one where I'm not really too concerned about it, mainly because of the fact that, again, Trae Young is out. So a lot of these numbers you have to throw out the window, because one of the reasons why he doesn't score as much as he probably should is because he's sharing the ball with Trae Young, who is a ball-dominant guard. He is out, of course, and no DeAndre Hunter, who is one of their other big-time players. And you look at the Kings defense, overall, they are a bottom 10 defense in points allowed, giving up almost 118 points per game to opposing teams. And look at versus point guards, because he's going to play point guard most of the night tonight. They are bottom half of the league, 19th. They give up almost 25 points per game to opposing point guards. DeJounte Murray is one of the better ones out there. With the defensive matchup, the fact that he's playing alone, the fact that he's close to being traded, I see him having a pretty big night for them. He is their primary guy tonight. So DeJounte Murray, maybe the data isn't there for this prop. It's a gut feeling on this one. I'm going with it over 22.5 points. That is the 5th and final leg of today's parlay. All right, guys, let me move my screen over here. So you have our 5-leg ticket here, plus 1,063 odds, a really solid parlay to kick off our week. Again, minus really only the last one we just had, the DeJounte Murray prop. All these other props have a lot of great data and matchup data to use here, right? So overall, really good trends, really good data, really good matchups. Again, the only one that's kind of risky that I'm not like, there's not a lot of data. The matchup's solid, but it's the DeJounte Murray prop. But again, considering the matchup they have, I really do like the spot there for him. So we get a plus 1063 odds. It is pretty much a DraftKings exclusive. You'll see here the Tobias Harris prop you can find on Caesars and BetMGM. Let's see anywhere else. The Malik Beasley props available on Caesars and MGM. And that's it. The other props, basically it is a DraftKings exclusive. You scroll down here. You can bet 2 of the legs on Caesars and MGM. You'd get plus 213 on MGM and plus 207. So that is an option. FanDuel, I say it all the time. If you guys are on FanDuel for player props, get off of it. None of these are available on FanDuel. So guys, that is it for me today. Again, thank you very much. 50,000 subscribers. An unbelievable a journey this has been, and we can't wait to see what is to come. Thank you all guys for watching. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, follow me on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. My name is right there in the video. Guys, that is it for me. Until next time, I hope you're all winners. Enjoy your day.